transaction, ijara, rental contract, salam, this is the type of financing in Islam. Istisna, this is also the type of financing is in Islam. Murabaha, musawama, these are the contracts that Islam has allowed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us these products. So let's take the example of house financing. We understand that house financing is not allowed through the conventional banking system. In traditional bank gives you loan and then bank charges the profit over the loan. Bank will give you $1 million and bank will say return $1.5 million in 10 years. So this is the loan contract. You take the loan, you purchase the house is in the ownership of the borrower, and bank takes the profit, and this profit is riba based profit, and this is not halal. But what is the alternate? Is there any alternate or not? Sharia has given this alternate. If there is a need and this is the genuine need, Sharia gives the alternate always. So what is the alternate? Alternate is the musharaka transaction. Currently, number of Islamic financial institutions, they provide musharaka transaction. What is musharaka transaction? Musharaka means partnership. So Islamic financial institution and the customer will share their funds. For example, if the value of the house is $1 million, so customer comes and say that I will pay $100,000, and $900,000 would be paid by the bank, and jointly they will purchase the house. So this is the musharaka transaction. This is the step number 1. Islamic financial institutions, they purchase the house. The customer is the partner in this house. Bank and Islamic bank is the partner in this house. So this is the musharaka transaction. And in the step number 1, Islamic bank and customer purchase the house jointly. For example, 90-10%. And the step number 2, this is the second contract. Islamic bank executes ijara, rental transaction with the customer. Islamic bank gives the 90% share of its share in the house to the customer, and customer will pay the rental every month. So this is the step number 2 in the musharaka transaction, in the house financing transaction. And what is the step number 3? Step number 3 is that customer will purchase the share of the house gradually. Every month, customer will purchase the share of the bank. Share of the bank is 90%. For example, in first month, customer will purchase 1 share. So the shareholding of the customer will increase, and the shareholding of the Islamic bank will decrease. Before it was 1090, now it is 89 and 11. In the second month, the customer will purchase another share. In the third month, customer will purchase another share. So the rental will decrease. In the first month, rental was charged on 90% of the share. But in the second month, now the rental is being charged on 89% of the share of the bank. And after 90 months, for example, all the shareholding of the bank is transferred to the customer. And now after 90 months, customer is the shareholder in the house, complete owner of the house. So this is called musharaka transaction. So musharaka is allowed in Islam, ijara, rental contract is allowed, and share purchase, every month sale and purchase is executed, and this transaction is also allowed in Islam, and there is no issue. So many people ask one question, and this is very important question we receive in the question and answer session. So I wanted to explain during this conversation. Sometimes what happen, Islamic financial institution sell the contract of the house to any third party, Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, or any other financial institution. After some time, after 1 month or 2 months, customer receive the letter that now this contract has been sold to any third party. So what is this? Is it allowed or not? So let me explain it. This is actually the sale purchase of the shareholding of the house. This is not any interest based transaction. If I am shareholder in the house and I have 50% share in the house, my brother has the 50% share in the house, and I wanted to sell my 50% to anybody, so I can do, because I am the shareholder in this house. I am the shareholder in any company. I have 10% shareholding in the company. I can sell my shareholding to any person. 10% shareholding I can sell. Similarly, what happens? Islamic financial institutions, they are the shareholders in the house, and they sell the shareholding of the house to the Freddie Mac, to the Fannie Mae. And every Islamic financial institution has Sharia board. In this Sharia board, great scholars, they sit and they discuss and they approve. So Sharia boards, they approve this transaction with the Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae. And the government agencies, they provide document, and this document is approved by the Sharia board of the financial institution. So this is not a problem at all. It is allowed for shareholder, for the Islamic financial institution, to sell the shareholding of house to any financial institution, to any third party, and new owner. Now, third party, government agency, Freddie Mac is the new owner. New owner will receive the rent. New owner will receive the share price from the customer. Every transaction, all transactions, all rights and benefits, all responsibilities are transferred to the new owner. So this is the situation in the house financing in Islamic way. There are some other products in the Islamic financial institutions. I will not discuss in detail. And yes, at short, Islamic finance is the alternate, and Allah has given us this alternate. Prophet ﷺ has discussed about number of Sharia compliant transactions: ijara, musharka, salam, istisna. So Islamic financial institutions simply they apply the transactions and agreements that were approved by Prophet ﷺ and given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is all about the Islamic finance. We will take the question answer at the end of the session. And the second topic that I wanted to highlight about the zakat, because normally we take out our zakat during the month of Ramzan, and in the month of Ramzan normally we calculate. So let me explain briefly how can we calculate the zakat in the month of Ramzan if we are going to calculate. First of all, we should choose and select any date for the calculation. This is our mistake. Sometimes we calculate in the first Ramzan, sometimes we calculate in whole Ramzan, sometimes we calculate in whole every day in the year. So this is not the correct practice. We have to select any date for the calculation. For example, if I select first Ramzan as the date of the calculation, so I have to sit in first Ramzan, I have to see my bank account, I have to see my stocks, I have to see my assets. So first we should choose and select any date for the calculation of zakat. You can select any date: first Ramadan, 10th Ramzan, first Rabiul Awwal, 12th Rabiul Awwal, first Muharram, 10th Muharram, any date. This is the requirement number one for the calculation of zakat. In the calculation of zakat, the second thing is about the assets of the zakat. What are the assets of zakat? Number one, gold. We have to pay zakat on the gold. Number two, silver. We have to pay zakat on silver. Number three, we have to pay zakat on cash and cash equivalent. If you have any currency, dollars or any other currency, you have to pay zakat. If you have some receivables, you have sold some item, you have some receivables, you have to pay zakat on receivables. Now I wanted to highlight here one famous question which is about the 401k investment. Whether zakat is applicable on 401k investment or not. Zakat is applicable on 401k investment because it is your investment. It is your fund. You are the owner of this fund. So you have to pay zakat on the contribution of the employer, on your contribution. And if your 401k is invested in Sharia compliant investment, so you have to pay zakat on the profit of 401k investment. So this is about the 401k investment. You have to pay zakat on it. And it would be my request to invest your 401k investment only in Sharia compliant way. Talk your employer to change 401k investment from traditional investments, from riba based investment into Islamic investment. So zakat is applicable on the cash or cash equivalent. Sometimes people ask, what about the zakat on the shares? So this is the item number 4. We have to pay zakat on the tradable items. For example, if I have the shop and I am the owner of the showroom, and in my showroom I sell the cars. So these cars are my tradable assets, and I have to calculate zakat on these assets. I have the general store, so I have to pay zakat on the tradable assets of the general store, on the sellable assets of the general store. So if you have the share, if you have, you own the shares, you own the equities, shares of some companies, so you have to pay zakat on it. And how you will calculate zakat on the shares? Zakat is paid on the market value of the shares. For example, if you have share of Tesla and the value of one share, for example, is $100, so you have to pay zakat on these $100. If you have more shares, so you have to calculate what are the market value of my shares. So you have to calculate zakat and you have to pay zakat. Zakat is paid 2.550. If you are calculating and if your zakat date is not the Qamari date, Shamsi date, so you have to pay zakat according to 2.58%, not 2.50. So 2.50 you have to pay zakat if you are calculating based on the Qamari year and not on the Shamsi year. So if you are calculating based on the Shamsi year, so you have to pay zakat 2.58. So zakat, in the zakat, you have to make the balance sheet. First, in the beginning, you have to write down the assets. Your assets, zakatable assets, are the gold, silver, tradable assets, cash and cash equivalent, or 401k investment, tradable shares, or any stock you have, or any tradable item you have to sell in the market. And you will deduct your liability. If you have taken any loan, any curse, any debt, you have to pay someone, and you have sold, and you have purchased any item on installment, so you have to deduct your loan, and after deduction of the loan, you have to pay zakat on the net value of the asset. In the last of the session, I want to highlight only one thing about the zakat on the property. If you have purchased the property for trading purpose, you have purchased and now this is your intention to sell this property in the market. So you have to pay zakat on the market value of the property. But if you have purchased the property for the rental purpose. You are giving this property on rent. So zakat is not applicable, because zakat is only applicable when the intention is to sell the property, and if you have given the property on the rental, then there is no zakat and zakat is not applicable. So this is about the property. So Alhamdulillah, today we discussed two things. First is about the Islamic finance, and second is about the zakat and zakatable assets and how to calculate the zakat. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us tawfiq to comply Sharia in all our aspects of the life. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Now the session is open for question and answer, and if you have any question about the Islamic finance or on the zakat matter, so you can ask, and at the end of the session I will request Brother Zishan to inform something about the Stearns Bank. Stearns Bank has started Islamic banking division. So they have very attractive products for the Muslim community. So Zishan will also speak about it shortly. So please, if you have any questions, so you can ask from. Yes.
Quick question. Now, as far as the Islamic institutes, they go partnership in my house. I purchased a house for $300,000. They calculated, I paid them rent. This $300,000 house becomes a $100,000 house. It's a loss, 200,000. Would they go down in the loss with me?
Okay, so this is very important question that if the value of the house decreases, so this loss would be borne by the Islamic financial institution or not. So I can tell you that this partnership is called Shirkatul Milk and not Shirkatul Aqd. Shirkatul Aqd partnership means you have the partnership to in profit and loss, and you are doing business. You are purchasing item and you are selling, and you have the joint ownership in this business. So in this situation, loss and profit is shared. But when there is a partnership in the milkiyah, in the property, in the ownership in any asset, and you will not sell this property in the market. You will utilize. Both the partners or one partner will use, and the value decreases. So according to Sharia, this is not loss, because this loss is unrealized loss. When you sell in the market and you receive the loss, then this is loss according to Sharia. But if you don't sell in the market and you live and property value decreases, so this is unrealized loss, and this is not loss in Sharia. Also, if the property value increases, value of the property is 300,000 and it gets increased and now $500,000. So according to Sharia, this is not the profit, because this is unrealized gain. Unrealized gain is not the gain in Sharia. So both the partners will not share this type of loss and this type of profit. For example, I am owner of house and my brother is partner with me. 50% house is for me, 50% house is for my brother, and I live in this house. And the value of the house increases or decreases. I will not share loss or profit with my brother, because there is no sale and purchase. Yes, if my brother and I decide to sell in the market, then I will share the loss or the profit. So in the Islamic financial institutions, when the property rate decreases, you don't go to sell in the market. You live in the house. So there is no profit and loss situation in this situation. Yes.
The Islamic institution has a vast market dealing with hundreds of millions of dollars. Where are they taking their money from?
Okay. uh,
That's the most important thing. Are they taking it from the federal government on interest
yes.
rate and sharing us?
Okay. I can tell you. So Islamic financial institutions, it is the requirement in Sharia that the funds should be Sharia compliant. And it is not allowed to utilize the non-compliant, non-Sharia funds in the Islamic finance. If Islamic finance is utilizing non-Sharia funds, so this is not Islamic finance. This is conventional finance. So I can assure you, the Islamic financial institutions, they follow the guidelines of the Sharia board. And Sharia board guides how to receive the funds and which funds you can utilize. So, shareholders of the company, Islamic Bank, shareholders of the Islamic financial institutions, when they establish any company, so they give the capital. So, capital of any shareholding company is halal in Islam. For example, if I have three friends and we establish one company and we take out $100, so these $300 are halal. So we can do any business with these $300. So similarly, the Islamic financial institutions, they provide the financing through their paid up capital. And paid up capital of any company is halal. Okay, and yes, as I mentioned in my speech, it is allowed for any company, for any shareholder to sell the shareholding to any person. So what is happening in the United States, the Islamic financial institutions, first they utilize their own share capital. And after some times, after 1 month, after 2 months, they sell its shareholding to the government agencies, to the conventional financial institution. And it is allowed to sell the shareholding, your shareholding, to any conventional bank, to any traditional bank. For example, I am the shareholder of the Tesla share, and my buyer is any traditional bank. So if any traditional bank wanted to purchase my share of Tesla, so I can sell. Sharia does not restrict, you cannot sell to Muslim or non-Muslim, you cannot sell to conventional bank, I can sell. So on the similar basis, Islamic financial institutions, they sell the shareholding in the house to the conventional financial institution. And this is not a problem.
I'm going to just follow up with this.
Okay.
I'll just give you a little bit context so that everyone knows what I'm talking about. I also had purchased a condominium through a financial institution, and it was my first purchase, and I thought I would not go to conventional bank. And actually, I researched a bit, and I found that they are charging a lot more interest rate. And as you just mentioned, like in 2 months, they sold it to a third party. And when I signed the contract, the brother actually told me that they require to put all the documents in regular terms, APR, everything that is in the real world out there. They would not use whatever you said, musharaka, all those Arabic terms, they just wipe it out. So I felt like at the end of 2 months that I was just got cheated. Like based on my faith, they just put a wrapper on the same conventional bank and sold it to me. And then in 2 months, they're selling it to the conventional bank, replacing all the terms with regular APR and everything. And I'm like, what just happened, right? And to my mind, it was like, when I go to the grocery store, I don't ask, is it the chicken, is it cut properly, is it halal? If they say halal, I take it. So I thought in like that mind, but later on when I realized it's just, again, I might be completely wrong, but as you just mentioned, everything is in regular term. Just the beginning, they use all these Arabic terms to make it even good.
Okay, so you are saying that in the beginning they executed musharaka, they executed rental contract, they executed sale purchase and share purchase document. Okay?
Can I just add one more? They even told me that they will share my losses. If something happens to the unit,
Okay, fine.
they will come and
Okay,
and there is
if
just-
property damages.
There is just vendor. Everything is not.
Okay, so I can tell you that when they execute any agreement in the beginning, so new owner, new partner, when they enter in the partnership, this new partner accepts the previous terms and conditions. So you can read the again you can read, because I have read and I have the contract of third party. So this third party writes in the agreement that we are accepting the terms and conditions of your previous contractor. So when new owner is just saying that I am accepting the terms and conditions of financial institution, it means that this new partner is in the shoe of first owner. All the rights and obligations automatically transfer to the new owner. In this situation, in this scenario, and at that time there is no requirement to execute again musharaka transaction, again rental transaction. No, this is not the requirement. So uh, whatever the transfer is being made to new party, to third party, this is in line with the previous agreement, and not and they don't cancel the previous agreement. They transfer, and transfer is allowed. This is the transfer and sale purchase. So sale purchase is allowed. For example, if I have one house and I have given this house on rent, and I sell you my house, so the rental contract will automatically be transferred to you, because you have purchased my house and this house is on rent. So the same situation is in Islamic banking, and new contract does not cancel the previous contract. Any other question?
Yes.
Yes, please.
You mentioned about 401k. In many cases, number one, the 401k, wherever they invest, is not in your control.
Okay.
Either it is 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can only do in those 3, 4. Let's say maybe there are 8.
Okay.
You don't know whether they are, like you said, Sharia compliant or not. Number two, it is not in your control to take the money out anytime you want. You have to either apply to take it out and pay taxes on it, or pay a penalty. It's not like automatically you go to the bank and say, okay, I want the money back. You can take it out, and this is your saving. This is kind of a saving in a sense, yes, I agree. But it is not in your control. It's not in your possession. Same way is real estate in a sense. That you have, let's say you have a plot or a real estate transaction somewhere. That is not in your control, it is in control of the market. If the market is bad, you're not able to sell it, whatever it is, I don't know if that falls under the same rule of zakat, whether you have to pay zakat on a piece of land that is there. You want to do something, you want to make a house on it maybe. Maybe you want to sell it at one point when the market gets better. But in 401k, most of the time it is already pre-assigned companies that are in certain companies' portfolio. Number one. Number two, it is not in your possession. Like you said, that your saving is the one that you pay zakat on. I saved 100,000 in 1 year left. Maybe I had 150. I
Okay.
used that 50 within the year, but only 100 is left. You see the minimum amount.
Okay.
You pay zakat on that.
So very good question, mashallah, and this is a very relevant question also. So actually, I can share with you that zakat is applicable when something is in your ownership, whether it is in your control or whether it is not in your control, whether it is in your possession and whether it is not in your possession. For example, as you mentioned about the property, if you have purchased a property and this property file is with you, but the property is not in your control, seller will give you after some time, after complete installment. But this property file is with you and property ownership is with you. So zakat is applicable, because zakat is applicable when something is in ownership, whether it is in your control or whether it is not in your control. So this is the basic ruling of Sharia. So yes, it is correct that the 401k investment is not in your control. You cannot take out, just you can select the options, any option, 8 options, you can select one option. But this is your saving. This is in your ownership. Anyone has to pay zakat on it. Definitely, the employer will not pay zakat on it because it is his liability. Employer does not have any control or ownership in the 401k investment. 401k investment is in the ownership of the employee. So this is the issue, that anything which is in your ownership and in your control or not in control, in your possession or not in your possession, you have to pay zakat on it. Yes, please. Okay.
Just a clarification. So with the 401k, being that your employer is giving you a limited amount of options in where you can invest it, if some of the investment options do not align with Sharia compliance, but you don't have any other option, what do? Should you just stop investing, or is there some way to purify?
Yes, you can purify, and if there is an option not to invest, just retain the principal amount if it is possible. I think this is not possible. You have to select any option. So you can select any option, but you have to pay the profit, which is the interest, in charity, without intention of reward, without intention of sawab. So you can take the employer contribution, you can retain your contribution from the salary, but the interest should be paid in charity.
Interest, you mean dividend or any?
Dividend, yes, dividend or profit on the principal amount of the 401k investment.
Okay, so if, let's say, out of the, let's say 100% of the portfolio, let's say Microsoft and Amazon aren't considered halal, and that's 3% of the portfolio. You only pay on that 3%.
3%, yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes. Last question.
So for the 401k, do you pay on the full amount, or do you pay as if like do you deduct the potential penalty had you taken it out? It's 30%.
Yes, you are right. You have to pay zakat after deduction of the charity amount, because you have to pay full amount of interest in charity. So for example, if the 3% is the charity amount, so you have to pay zakat on the employer contribution, on your contribution, and the profit which is halal. And the profit which is not halal, you are not required to pay zakat, but you have to pay this non-compliant income into charity. So again I am repeating, zakat is applicable on whole 401k after deduction of penalty. You are saying penalty, this is not the penalty, this is the charity. So after deduction of the charity amount.
The penalty would be if you withdraw early. They cut out 20%, 30% as a tax.
So if I want to take it out now, they say, all right, we're
Okay,
taking 30%.
so this is the penalty you are saying? No. Penalty is not because right now when you are paying zakat, you don't know whether this penalty will be applicable on you or not. It is not confirmed.
It is confirmed.
No.
The question is, if you take it out, say you had $100, you withdrew it, now you have 70. Then at that point, would you pay 70? But let's say you kept it in, it's 100, even though you took it out, it'd be 70, you pay on the 100.
Yes, you be under. Okay.
So you mentioned about calculating a zakat, we have to deduct our liabilities. How about the home and or car that let's say we have a loan or mortgage? How would that get into the calculation?
Okay, so if the house or the mortgage is with Islamic financial institutions, so in Islamic financial institution, this is not the liability. This is not the loan, because this is the rental, and current rental payment is due. If it is due on you, then you have to deduct this current month rental. Otherwise, the future rentals are not the loan in Sharia. That is why the loan of Islamic financial institutions will not be deducted. And if you have taken the conventional banking loan, so you have to deduct one year loan, 1 year payable amount. If you have to pay, for example, $100 in 100 months, but when you are calculating zakat, so you have to deduct $12 because you have to pay $12 in 1 year. So loan always is deducted, but up to the extent of 12 months loan and not the complete loan. Okay, so I am very thankful, mashallah. Questions were very, very important. I will request Brother Dishan to explain something about the Eastern Bank Islamic Bank.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I'll keep it brief, just given the time and given it's a weekday. So I'll just share a few words about what we're trying to do at Stearns Bank. And essentially, Stearns Bank is a 100-year-old bank, nationally chartered, so they can operate in all 50 states, based out of Minnesota. And because of the Muslim community there and because of their request for Sharia-compliant products, the bank has agreed to offer Islamic financing across the country to the Muslim community. And so when we were looking at what we wanted to offer to the community, we saw that there were already some existing Islamic financing products, especially in home finance and more recently in car finance. And so we wanted to focus on what could really drive the community forward as far as building communal wealth. And we saw that in the business financing space in particular, and also in the nonprofit financing, so for schools and massages and things like that, there's a big gap, and that's what we'll, inshallah, be starting with. So business financing includes commercial real estate, equipment finance, construction finance, anything that you might need for a business, working capital, and these kinds of things. And then nonprofit finance would be, masajid and things like that. And then on top of that, we'll also have deposit products. And so this is a very new thing for our community in that typically we deposit our products into conventional banks. And so the idea here is that the checking and later the Sharia compliant savings account would be available just as you would use with your traditional bank. And in this way, those products would be serving the Muslim community, and the products themselves would be deployed in Sharia compliant ways so that your money is, inshallah, free from the interest that conventional banks typically lend at. So I'll close there. If anyone wants to talk about it, I'll be here. We can chat about it, and appreciate everyone coming on this night, and hope you have a good night. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Thank you so much. You can give the card.
These are
Okay.
I want to use your phone, that's all.
Sitting or?
yeah.
I'm going to put your laptop.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, I do have my card with me. I'll give you one. Okay.